Morning, Facebook. We're live on a Wednesday morning. I nearly said Thursday there. I was so used to doing it Thursday mornings, and we've shifted now to a Wednesday. I hope everyone's well. As you might hear, I've got a bit of a sore throat. It's okay. I'm going to fight on through like all those men all over the world with their man flu and how they're going to cope with it. Today's coffee is sponsored by Nashville, Tennessee, a cup that was brought all the way from the States and given to me last week. So, Lisa Marie, thank you so much for this. That's not even a mug; it's a vat, just what I like. Nice big vat of coffee. I hope everyone's well. It's a nice day. It's kind of sunny outside, but it is kind of threatening a bit of rain as well. So you never know what way it's going to go. I hope everyone's had a good week. We've got some really good questions in, tough questions, but I suppose it's what we want. We want to answer those questions that people are really kind of struggling with. And so this week we're going to be covering some more delicate topics for parents. But please do keep them coming in because we really appreciate it, and it makes a big difference because the interaction makes my job much easier at the same time as making it a bit more challenging. But that's what I want. I'd rather have that than not. So look, we'll delve straight into it. Let me see. First one. My 13-year-old seems to be counting calories and has become really conscious of her weight. She's very sporty. We're worried that she might be becoming overly obsessed. Have you any suggestions? So I suppose in the past we've spoken about how important it is that as parents we take on to manage our children's food intake and nutritional needs. And one of the things that I've seen over the years has been teenage girls especially taking control of what's going on for them inside their bodies by controlling the food that they eat. So they'll start to count calories, and a lot of them will stop doing sport. They'll stop taking part in activities and try and control their weight through food, right? So in some ways, it's about trying to get a balancing act. It's good that they're being conscious of what they're actually eating, but at the same time, it's about making them realize that it's not just all about what you eat, because then what happens is you can start to slip into eating disorders, and we're all very aware of eating disorders and how frequently they happen and how they can impact on people's lives and stuff. One of the first things is, if you are really worried, right, if you see your daughter losing significant weight, dropping off from activities, being lethargic, all that kind of stuff, go and seek professional help. Go to your doctor. Go and get the doctor's advice and actually engage in some external supports. It's not all on you. You don't need to, it's actually impossible for you to be able to deal with everything that your daughter needs in this regard. So if you're starting to see that, do go and get professional help. If you feel confident that it's just the start of a phase, it is a good chance for you to start to have that communication with your child. Our own nutritionist, Foodie, you can check her out, Foodee, on Facebook. She has some great programs for parents and children to go along and to learn about nutrition. Because the other side of it is sometimes we're not quite sure about what it is that we're putting into our bodies or the impact that it has. So go doing it like a course with somebody like Foodie is really, really positive, because it gives us a better insight into the foods that we're eating. But it helps our kids to understand that it's not just mum or dad telling us we need to eat because that's what mum and dads do. It's a professional letting us know about the importance of fats, the importance of carbohydrates, the importance of proteins, and where we can get these, where we can get that balance from. Because with a lot of the young people I've worked with who maybe struggle with their weight or their diet, they just became vegetarians, and they felt that by not having the meat and having less carbohydrates, that they would be able to control their weight, but they weren't getting the nutrients that they necessarily needed. So the ones that were sporty sometimes became less sporty because they didn't have the energy, because there wasn't enough fuel in their bodies to actually be able to participate in the sports that they were participating in, and they drop off. So it's really important that we start to have that conversation and educate the whole family. It's something that we can all do. Like, you don't need to do a course. Obviously, when you do a course, you can ask questions back and forth and get more specific information around what your particular needs are. But go search online. Also, talk to your child about what they're looking at online and who they are following in terms of those that are getting their advice from around how to control their foods and how to control their diets. So, if you've got a sporty child, there's a good chance that their metabolism is going to be quite rapid. And if they're not taking the fuel, they will become lethargic. They'll be able to concentrate less. They'll be maybe struggling to kind of deal with normally simple things that they would normally deal with really, really simply. But do kind of sit down and start to maybe embrace, your daughter's new decisions. So, go and ask her. What is it you're going to actually cook? What is it that you're actually counting here? What is it that you want to achieve by controlling this or by eating this way? So if your daughter's becoming a vegetarian, ask her. Well, let's go and explore. Get some new interesting, you know, uh, vegetarian ideas that we can all try. So okay, we're not all going to become vegetarian with you, but we'll definitely have a night a week where we'll all sit down and have a meal that me and you'll cook. It's one, you're starting to see the kind of foods that your daughter needs or is taking in. But the flip side is you're doing something nice together. So instead of it being a big negative thing that you need to kind of jump on top of, maybe just embrace it. Maybe just kind of look at as an opportunity for you to learn more and also support your child in her new decision. But again, the utmost one is if you see significant weight loss or lethargy, go to your doctor. Take your daughter to the doctor because you don't want her slipping into an eating disorder situation. Okay? Good morning, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Okay, I do need a little sup from my national mug. Right, next one. Our mornings are an absolute nightmare. Almost every day the kids and I are leaving stressed and angry due to me having to shout at them to get moving. Please help with some ideas to make it easier. Very, very common for a lot of parents where the morning is such a struggle. Kids don't get out of bed on time. Kids are fighting. Kids can't find their underwear, can't find their clothes. Lunches need to be made. Kids don't tie their shoelaces quickly enough. Breakfast isn't eaten. There isn't, the breakfast are very slow. Everybody's running late. Everyone's stressed. Everyone's shouting. It is awful. So, the only way it's going to change is if we actually take on to make changes for our family, right? So, the first things I'd say is, and you may have done this already, but it's important to reiterate it for other viewers. One, do the lunches the night before. Get uniforms laid out the night before. Get underwear laid out the night before. It's very simple. It's going to take you maybe half an hour to get all that sorted out, but that's a half an hour that's not in the morning where everybody's tired, stressed, maybe people haven't slept that well. There could be a baby in the house that makes it a lot more difficult, with parents having to be up during the night. So get all the practicals done. If you need, I know we here make porridge the night before, so it's all ready. And while it only takes a couple of minutes to do, it's one less thing to worry about in the morning. Dishwasher is emptied the night before if possible. All those, simple practical things that you can do and put in place very easily without there being pressure on everybody. So once you've got those practical things, then look at your kids and how are they in the morning. So is there one that is more leisurely, we'll say, in the mornings? One who takes that bit more time than everybody else to get their head going, get themselves organised, get themselves dressed, whatever it might be. So maybe then they become the first child to be woken up. And maybe they become the child who's helped to actually get dressed. So you give enough time. It may mean you getting up 15, 20 minutes earlier, and that might be a pain, but is the pain better than the actual frustration that you're having in the morning? So go in, help them get dressed so that they're done before everybody else is even awake. Then you go to the other kids, and then looking at if that's not working, put a star chart in place for each kid, or a morning chart where they're ticking off each thing that they get in the morning, and they get maybe a treat at the weekend. Now, people talk to me about those kind of treats sometimes and go, yeah, but it's something they should be doing anyway. Absolutely, is something they should be doing, but they're not. So we need to try and use whatever techniques you can use to get them into the routine of it. And I guarantee that once you start this process of using a reward system, within 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 5, 6 weeks, you won't need it because you've got a new routine set up at home that everybody's used to, and it's just what we do. In the morning, we get up, we get dressed, we go down for breakfast, we brush our teeth after breakfast, we get ready for school, and off we go. Now, I know it sounds simple, and I know some of you are sitting there going, yeah, it's not that easy, but sometimes it is. I've worked with families where literally, by just putting those little things in place where they get up a little bit earlier, having everything done the night before, dealing with the kid who's the slowest and getting them dressed first, has really, really had a major impact on everybody's happiness first thing in the morning. And that way, your kids are not going off to school stressed and frustrated. You're not going to work or dropping them off to school frustrated and stressed. And all of a sudden, the mornings become pleasurable, and you probably have more time for maybe conversation, being a bit more relaxed, where there isn't as much pressure on everybody. So give it a try and see. Good morning, Jennifer. Good to see you. Thank you very much. I'm not like, oh man, no, I can keep myself going and get over this poor cold. I'm not quite dying just yet. Okay, next question. I know it's only April, but every Christmas we are under serious pressure financially. Everyone says to start saving, but we don't have any real spare cash to save, and we usually have to put any savings towards something else during the year. Obviously, we have to change something, but can you think of any simple ways to do this? So, Christmas is something that can catch a lot of people out, or it ends up costing a lot more than we expected. One of the things that I know here in Drogheda, and I'm sure it happens everywhere, there are a lot of clubs that you can pay into on a weekly basis, and you can manage what it is that you're putting in. So if you've got €5 or £5 or $5, whatever a week that you have that might be spare, pop that into the club so it's out of the way and you don't get it back until Christmas. Now I know some of those people will be worried about those clubs, that they don't actually, if something happens and the club folds, it happened a few years ago I think in the UK, but it's one option where you're not even thinking about the money, you're just going, handing it in, or having it come straight out of your account, so that come Christmas you have a lump sum there, okay? But it has to be in a manageable amount that you're not going to miss too much. Obviously you can set up bank accounts that maybe you can only touch once a year or whatever, but again, if you're struggling with your finances to have that spare cash, it can be quite stressful. The other thing to look at then is, if you don't have that spare cash, can you cut back elsewhere? Can you reduce your monthly outgoings? So can you reduce your car insurance? Can you reduce your house insurance? Can you reduce your health insurance? Can you reduce maybe your television subscriptions? Really look, your broadband, your phone, whatever it might be. If you smoke or drink, can you maybe spend one day where you are not buying the stuff that you would normally buy, and take that €4 or €5 and put that aside a week? It's amazing how quickly that money will add up, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit of a buffer there come the end. Use it as an incentive, right? You've been talking about giving up cigarettes for the last 10 years. Well, use this as your incentive. So all the money that I'm spending on my cigarettes, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to take this money and put it into the club, the account, whatever it might be, for the Christmas. And if you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, that's a lot of money that you're going to have come Christmas time. The other one that it was actually my wife introduced to me, and it was, she had heard it I think somewhere, or read it somewhere, and really, really simple idea that I think could be very effective is at the start of the year, on week 1, you put €1 away into a jar. And then week number 2, you put €2. Week number 3, you put €3. And you do it continuously throughout the year. And I think the amount of money you're going to get come Christmas is like it's thousands. Now, maths is not my strong point, but somebody can work that out. It is pretty amazing the amount of money. Now, you do have to take into account that you're going to be hitting 40, 45, €50 a week in come towards the end of Christmas. But even if you go up until week 35, you've got a lot of money there that's put aside. And it's just for Christmas that you don't tip into, you don't go near. And again, if you feel that, well, what I'll normally do is I'll go to it and I'll take the money out because there'll be a bill to pay or something unexpected that we hadn't budgeted for, which is fair enough. And then you can give it to somebody else to mind it for you, someone you trust, that you know you can say, will you just hold on to this? It could be a family member, whoever you might trust, and do it that way. I think that's a really, really good idea. Lay away for the Americans. Oh, I never heard of that, Elizabeth. Jennifer come up with a great idea. Buy some gifts already during the year if you see something they like. Again, that's a really good idea. You know, picking things up throughout the year. And if you look at any of the toy stores or any of those shops, they have lots of sales throughout the year. So you'll be able to pick things up with a view to this being Christmas. Now, you may need to maneuver your kids in the direction of those presents or gifts come the time of Christmas, but so be it. You know, if you know it's something they're going to enjoy and love, go for it. Good morning, Trish. Good to see you there. Okay, this is our last question. Myself and my friend have children playing football together. It's great and I love going to watch them play. The issue is that he is constantly shouting at everyone during the match. His son, the coach, the ref, and it's really over the top. It's clear his son is embarrassed, but he seems oblivious. How do I say it to him without it affecting our friendship? Yeah, that's difficult. Because you have a friendship there, and it's important that you maintain that balance in that friendship. It's one thing that there's definitely a big push on worldwide, I think, for parents to take that step back from being that, you know, sideline soccer coach or football coach or whatever kind of coach to their children. We all want our children to do the best that they can. But I've seen it myself on the sideline. It's amazing how engrossed, and I've been engrossed myself watching my own children play. And it is hard to not jump in, give advice, you know, say something isn't right if you see something isn't right, or, you know, if there's a bad call from a referee. But if we look at it from the child's perspective, getting shouted at by your parent in front of your teammates is absolutely horrendous, especially when you're, you know, coming into the tween or teenage years where you're very self-conscious anyway of what's going on for you, of, you know, not standing out from the crowd. And there's your mum or dad shouting on the sidelines, giving a referee dog's abuse, or shouting at your coach or you. It's not nice, it's horrible. So what I'd suggest is that maybe have a chat with the coach, right? And ask the coach, have you heard this? Have you heard the shouting? Have you heard all this going on? There's a good chance the coach is going to say yes. And then you can say, I wonder, would it be worth maybe, you know, there being a meeting for the parents to attend, and one of the topics is allow the coach to coach, allow the ref to ref, allow the players to play, and have a strict code of conduct for parents that they, one, sign up to, and two, are made aware of on match days. And if there is an issue during the match, they can be asked to step away. Now, you don't want it to get to a point, and you name all this. Again, I'll talk about it all the time. It's important that we have openness. So name it from the very start, saying we don't want to get to a point where we're asking parents to step away from watching their children play sports. But if we have to do it, we will do it, because it's not okay to interfere. If you're not happy with the way your coach is coaching your child, get involved in coaching yourself. Change teams. There are options, but maybe your child is happy with the way things are going. Maybe they don't need to know that your coach isn't the best coach in the world. Maybe they just love the coach as a person, and maybe they're enjoying playing the sport because of the coach's ability to engage them. The other thing is, it is okay for you to kind of say, "Oh, look, I know it's frustrating, isn't it, seeing this happen, but we need to think about the kids here. There's no point in us jumping in and shouting and roaring, because I know my child hates when I do that, or my child gets really embarrassed. They've said it to me. Maybe we should kind of just take a step back. Or if you feel that the game is going a certain way, maybe let's go grab a quick coffee and come back, to take them out of the situation. They might say no. Or if you feel comfortable just saying, look, do us a favour. Stop embarrassing me in front of everybody. Stop shouting. Could be that simple. But it is important that we do take that ownership. But I do think if you come from the coach's perspective, I think the coach will feel a bit more supported by having you on their side. And I think that knowing that there's a parent out there that's willing to step in and say, I'll give you a hand to organise this if you want. This is what I would suggest. Do a little bit of research, and then look at the club's code of conduct, because I'm sure most clubs have a code of conduct for parents now when they're watching matches. So you don't need to have Tony Soprano sitting on the side shouting and roaring, and you not having the ability to say, it's time to move. Right, guys, we're 20 minutes in. My man flu is kicking in. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it a day there. Thanks very much, guys, for the suggestions. Good to see everybody. And thanks for the questions. Keep the questions coming in. I want to say thank you to those of you who've given us the 5-star ratings on Facebook. Genuinely heartfelt appreciation for that. It makes a big difference when people come to our site and see that people are speaking so kindly of us. So I appreciate that. If you are finding this useful, spread the word. Share these videos. Let people know that these are out there, because sometimes we don't know who are the people that actually need that bit of support, or maybe have that nagging question that they're not quite sure what to do about. So do share the word. Keep supporting us, and check out All Happy to Parent. Take care. Bye-bye.